All right, Erin, let's go ahead and get started.
Excellent. Well, hi, I'm Erin, and this is Mia.
Hi.
Our article was The Value Conflict on the Community College Campus, an examination of our historical origin. Mia, can you get us started on the explaining of the polarized ideology that surrounds the purpose of the community college, please?
Yeah, thanks, Erin. So this is really the basis for Pederson's whole argument. He starts off the article and he wants to really define these internal inconsistencies that surround the purpose and mission and existence of the community college. So in the community college personnel, there are two groups of prominent scholars, each with very different ideas about the community college's purpose and effectiveness and goals. So the first set of scholars, which their names are Clark, Zwirling, and Carabell, they have a little bit of a negative idea of what the community college is. Their perspective is that although the mission outwardly for the community college is explained to be a mission of equal access and affordability and allowing everyone the opportunity to be educated and to rise up to any career they want, what community college actually does is it takes those marginalized and underprivileged people groups, offers an education that is somewhat subpar to a university because it's at a lower cost, and then train them for careers that are also maybe not the most prestigious or esteemed careers. So it really just locks these students into the same cycle. So that would be the first ideology surrounding a community college purpose. The second one is pretty much the polar opposites, which is why they're called polarized ideologies. Metzger, Gleiser, and Parnell, they have a very positive light. They believe that the mission is truly about equal access and affordability and providing everyone with the opportunity to get an education, and an education that doesn't have to be surrounded by the university culture, but where you can go to class but still live at home or maintain a job. And these opportunities are really important for students who might not have an interest in the brand of the university, right? Because if we've learned anything from the primary sources this week, we can see that the college brand is definitely very strong. So now that we kind of understand the differences in opinion on why the community college exists and what it's supposed to do, Erin, I'd love if you could explain why the first community colleges were founded.
Sure. Thank you. The reason why they were founded was because the civil and political leaders wanted to feel that their towns were complete.
Right.
And the only way they were going to accomplish this is because, the only way they were going to accomplish this was through a basis of a community college because they didn't have the funds or the means like the larger cities do. So they really wanted to bring that there to their agricultural area, and that's where the community came from. A great example of that would be if you look at in the article on page 503 of Temple, Texas.
Yes.
That a little bit further.
Yeah, Pederson gives a great account of Temple Junior College and how it came to be and some of the predicaments that that town found itself in. And if you have an interest in that, it would be great to check out. So the last thing we want to touch on before we get into the discussion questions was a really interesting dynamic between the universities and the community colleges that Pederson describes. So before the modern system of institutional accreditation was developed or established, the community colleges, or then named the junior colleges, they were actually monitored and regulated by the state universities, which that's where their name junior colleges comes from, because they weren't necessarily their own entities, but they were basically justified and made, I don't know, important or just by the state university saying, yeah, they're teaching the right things and we'll accept their graduates because their graduates will be ready for us. And that brings me to what Pederson calls the age of standards. And this was a time around, I'm trying to think of when the year was, but it looks like it was around 1910 to 1911 when the Bureau decided to start dividing colleges into classes. So if you were in like the top class of a college or university, you would be named a college that provides or develops graduates that have the full potential to complete a master's program at advanced standing. So they could complete a master's with ease, like in a year, and if you're at the bottom of the totem pole in like the fourth class, then you are barely considered a college that prepares students much after a high school level education. So what this age of standards does is it really puts a divide between the universities and the junior colleges and pits them against each other. They'd already been pitted against each other with the universities kind of monitoring and regulating the junior colleges. But once it came to the age of standards, it was like, oh, wow, as a junior college, I didn't know that my goal was to be a university. It was almost like, here are the good ones and here are the not so good ones. And this really sparked a lot of conversation between Aaron and I on really what is the purpose of a community college? And, is it okay to just have your own reasons and your own purpose? You're not trying to be Yale or Harvard, but you're kind of keeping yourself apart from that brand. And I saw that a lot in the primary sources, Aaron, where they were talking in the GI Bill about improving access and affordability to education. And the junior colleges totally delivered on that, but they were still always compared to the universities as if they needed to be something more or have more of that signature brand.
Yeah, but I think they shouldn't do that to themselves. There's nothing wrong with being a community college, and there's, not everyone wants to go on and go further in the university and get their 4-year degree or whatnot. So to other people, a community college fits better than the university. So
absolutely, I agree with you, and I think that's what Pederson is getting at in this article. He concludes by really saying that if the community college could just resolve this value conflict, stop borrowing our purposes and missions from other places, and just give ourselves the freedom to reflect on what are we trying to do, who are we serving, who are we trying to be, because it doesn't have to be the standard collegiate ideal. It doesn't have to be that. And Pederson's really just challenging the community college personnel to be honest about where we're drawing our culture from and our mission from. And
we have to, sorry, Mia, I think you have to be careful of that gentrification of a community college to a university. If a community college is thinking about going bigger, well, you're leaving behind those that don't or cannot afford that university standard. So it's a form of gentrification. You just got to be careful about that.
That's a really great point, and I think there should be some great discussion on that. And for those of you that have taken the time to watch this video, we really appreciate you. And we look forward to discussing this more with you. There's a lot of good stuff in this article, and if you do have the time, I'd encourage you to read it because it gives us some great history. So as we close, I just want to remind you guys to read the discussion questions that we have linked to this video. It's in the description on the discussion board, and please engage with us. Give us your thoughts. If you have something you want to respond to from the video, that's totally fine. You don't have to pick one of the questions. We just look forward to hearing your thoughts, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.